back to Uninformed Movie Reviews, the movie review podcast. Yeah, we're back. It's the same guys as it is every week, every other week, I guess.
Yeah.
Got David over here, Danny with the two hands.
The sleeper must awaken!
Who's very amped for today's episode.
Yes.
We got another.
Some would say too amped.
I would say you were too amped for sure.
Let's just say I've been waiting for this podcast for like all year.
Today we got another remake versus original. We're talking about
Dune.
Wow, that was way longer than I expected for sure.
What can I say?
That was the voice from David.
Pretty wild stuff. Yes, that's right. We're talking about Dune. We're going to get real sandy with it. A little compare and contrast, if you will.
I just want to get it out of the way. I don't like sand.
Get some sand in your buns.
It's rough. It's coarse. It gets everywhere.
That's a valid take, David. Valid take on sand. And I don't think a lot of people would argue with you there. And I guess we'll get into it. We've used a kind of a grading rubric before, but we're not going to do that today.
Oh.
We're going to do it a little bit more laid back.
Straying from the beaten path.
Yeah, straying from the beaten path. We'll just be a little bit more conversational today. We'll get into, I guess, the original first. I feel like it's a pretty good way to do it. Just like initial impressions, how we feel about it. Talk about the remake a little bit. And then I guess eventually decide which of the two films is the better. And I'm sure we'll mash them up as we go along.
This will also be known
tangents.
as episode 39, right?
It is the 39th episode.
Episode 39, a.k.a. Danny defends the beauty of Dune from freaking David.
You're not wrong. Should I hit us with a good old Dune plot synopsis?
Sure. Oh, synopsis, Daddy. Hit us with it.
It's a musical
I guess
rendition.
this counts for both of them then.
Yeah, it does, because it is the same plot. Although I will make the caveat that, like, New Dune is part one of, assumedly two, although now he's saying maybe even three movies.
Definitely two, yeah. I hope not three.
Well, I think he was saying he wants to do the sequel to Dune for
he
three.
should, yeah.
Which would be interesting. Whereas Dune 1984 is the complete Dune.
The complete first book.
The complete first book. I don't know how much. And also, to throw it out, none of us have read Dune.
I've read Dune.
You've read Dune? Mm-hmm. Okay, so then one of us knows what's going on.
Yes.
So
I expected that. I was like, spoiler alert, I was like, there's got to be a reason Danny loves these movies so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But I've only read the first, just Dune. Not Children of Dune, Messiah Dune, no, Dune Messiah, and God Emperor of Dune.
God Emperor of Dune.
It is metal.
That is pretty heavy
as
metal.
hell.
That is pretty metal. Okay, so Dune plot synopsis. Dune follows the House of Atreides. It's actually the falling of the House of Atreides. The House of Atreides.
Wow. That's a really good spin.
Halt the spice mines. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Halt the spice mines. I mean, basically, like, there's some space. There's a space empire. And a bunch of different planets are all members of the space empire.
All right.
House Atreides is
the known universe.
A member of this empire, but they are like good guys, essentially. We're supposed to root for them, although they are just part of the imperialistic machine.
Yes.
They're going to Arrakis, not Iraqis or Iraqis.
Or B.A. Arrakis.
But Arrakis to dig up weapons of mass, spice from only this one part of the world. They found out that they have some spice in there, and they need to give that spice some freedom.
And so, a lot of talk about this spice, but what does spice taste like? That's all I want.
What if it wasn't spicy?
What if it was really bland?
Yeah, there's no spice to it.
It just tasted like flour.
Yeah, they smoke spice though. I don't think they literally eat it.
I'm sure you get a little bit on your tongue.
They just like get it in their eyes.
Yeah.
But the spices, it has two purposes, and this is like
a lot of purposes.
This is like two main ones, I guess. To the people of Arrakis, it is like a holistic kind of spiritual medicine. They are one with the desert and the spice.
It's like DMT.
But to everyone else, it's what allows their navigators to see these pathways through space, and also allows their ships to like pin poke a hole through space and travel.
They allow them to fold space.
It allows the navigators to fold space-time so that their intergalactic travel is possible only through the navigators.
And the spice is only on this planet, so they want the spice. But there's a bit of like, I don't know if this is spoilers. Who cares, really? But it's like a little bit of Game of Thrones vibes going on.
Definitely. You
got some backstabbing and some setting up. And basically, little Timothy Chalamet or Mayor of Portlandia, whichever one you want to pick, they're there to defend the honor of, to defend of their house and to become the chosen one.
Yes. So, okay. Yes, that's the basic synopsis.
Yeah.
Really what it is the Emperor of the known universe is realizing that House Atreides is becoming too powerful. So the Harkonnens have been watching over the spice and obviously been the America of the equation. And they've been killing the Fremen, the natives of Arrakis. And so the Emperor devises a plan with the Space Guild and the Navigators to set it up so that the Atreides take over Arrakis. And they have it so that they're setting up a civil war between the two so that they'll both kill each other out and the Emperor of the Universe will continue to reign.
He's playing both sides.
He's playing both sides so you can see how it plays out.
You sound so nerdy right now. I just have the need to like give you a wedgie or something.
I had to.
Yeah, Danny is going to be the resident nerd on this episode for sure.
Most definitely. But you're right. I mean, this definitely is like, oh, the Messiah has come.
Yeah, they'll let you know too.
Oh yeah,
they'll hit it real hard.
Well, it's not even in full Messiah mode yet. Well, at least the new one. But it's also a cautionary tale. It is literally a cautionary tale quoted from Frank Herbert against charismatic leaders and messiahs. Because if you've read further, shit goes real wrong.
Oh wow, I feel like you're spoiling things right now.
You should get that vibe when you're watching it anyway, right?
Actually, I don't know about that. I don't know if I get that vibe from Dune.
They probably should have set it up more.
It just really seems more like a white saviorism movie.
Yes.
Which is supposed to be what it's against, but I don't know if that comes across.
I think that's the fault of the new one, is that it didn't set it up in a ironic manner.
I would say either, to be honest. If anything, it feels more white savior in the 80s one.
Okay, yes. That's a fault of the 80s one too, is that the whole cast is Caucasian. Everyone in that cast. But also, that the way that one is set up and plays out is very much like Paul Atreides is the savior of the Fremen, and who will take his jihad across the whole universe to cleanse every world. Like if you can't see if you can't see the Aryan subtext in that.
The Aryan subtext. Yes. Well, I think that's a pretty good time to get into 1984, right? Let's dive into it. So this was my first watch for Dune 1984.
Same.
I believe you as well.
Was this both you guys'
yes.
first watch? Okay.
And I mean, how many times have you seen Dune at this point?
The original one?
Yeah.
Honestly, only like 3 times.
All right.
Maybe. It is a long watch, and it's hard to get through. Even if I love it, like it's slow, and I'll fall asleep like after the first 30 minutes.
You know what? On my first attempt to watch this movie, I fell asleep. I tried to watch it after work. Big mistake.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was too slow for me, but if anything, there's just a lot going on.
There's a lot
going on, and there's a lot very text heavy.
Well,
and you start like saying the beginning of the movie is a big old exposition dump.
I was gonna say.
It's like 15 minutes of exposition, although I could have used a little exposition in the new Dune.
I could see that, yeah.
Also
definitely.
fair.
Watching the 80s, because I watched the new one first. Spoiler alert, bit boring. When I went back to watch the 80s one, I was like, well, this story makes more sense now. They've actually told me what these things are instead of just talking about it.
For sure.
Yeah. So
that's a huge fault of the new one.
But it's a little too
Well, I was going to say, I feel like it's also a big problem with my enjoyment on the one of the 80s is how much information is crammed into it. And I know part of the reason is like they only gave David Finch so much to work with. They're like, you get this one film.
Did you say David Finch?
Yeah, I did. And as soon as I did, I realized that I had messed up.
You just combined the two.
Yeah,
David Fincher.
David Fincher. How funny.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Complete your.
Oh, can we make fun of him more? Actually, before we get back to it,
you can take some time. Okay. You want to take some time?
Well, now it feels mean. Go ahead.
Anyways, there's just so much crammed into that first movie, exposition wise, but I feel like also plot wise, especially in the back half of that movie, that it was hard to keep my attention because we were just like, and now we are speeding through the rest of this.
We're just riding this fast worm, man. We're on the back of this worm, holding on for dear life.
Do not ask too many questions. We ride worms now. We figured out all the desert stuff. This little baby's a little bit older now. Final confrontation.
Yeah.
Let's just say, let's put it into context that 1984's Dune, 2021's Dune ends at the 90-minute mark of 1984's Dune.
Yeah, and how long is 1984? If only someone had the numbers.
It's
there you go.
Casual stat daddy time. Dune with its 137-minute runtime.
Okay, so just over 2 hours.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how much if this is going to be all of part 2, that's a lot.
Well, and you can notice, I don't know if, so you watched it reversed, right? You watched first Dune and then you watched New Dune and then first Dune.
Yeah, New Dune.
Same.
And you did the same?
Yeah.
Did you notice that like where the story of the first Dune ends, like in context, where you just like, wow, they really yada yada the rest of this?
After they get out, or after they're on those rocks, after the big worm confrontation, I was like, oh man, like, there's still a lot of story, I guess, about to come.
There's also a moment where it's like, oh, wow, Paul's in charge of everyone now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's king.
Immediately.
There's a montage that's like exposition dump of like 7-year gap or something. And it's just like, Paul has a sister. She's like a Bene Gesserit, Messiah also, and she's really annoying. And you're right. And
super
then Paul
creepy.
like commands the entire Fremen, and then it's like, all right, holy war jihad with sandworms.
I love creepy little girl.
So weird.
I'm so excited to see what they do with that in the new one.
Hopefully they get really creepy with it.
I really hope so, which I feel like they're going to have to.
Dude,
given the way.
I'm just really quick. I love the creep of the new one. It is bleak, and I dig it.
It's pretty cool, but I mean, I don't know. It turns it into like the slowest paced DCEU movie.
I can see that.
That's like all Dune is.
Definitely.
It's like Batman v Superman, but without crashing buildings.
I can see that.
But I don't know. It's just too dark. The whole movie's
It's very
just too
dark. I love it.
It is. It does hit the whole foreboding thing constantly and a little bit too much. Like constantly, you're like, oh, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Well, I agree with that. But I literally just mean like the picture is dark. Like they really are
Except
going
for the
like
daytime sand stuff.
muted colors, and then it's like big sand.
I really like
sand
that
vistas.
though. Well, and then when you watch it in comparison to 1984 is so like Halloween costume.
Yeah.
And like it's very, even the lighting in 1984, like inside spaces is so just literally you're watching a set. Like you can tell you're watching a set.
I like the set designs in 1984. I like the physical
Empire
appearance
place.
of the sets and everything. I hate the costumes.
Dude, they're so
the costumes aren't good, and then visual effects obviously are gonna be rough.
They're kind of
because
charming,
of the time,
but
some of them are. But
except for like the shields.
The shield is.
Oh my God.
I don't even like the shield in the new one.
I don't like the shields.
I was
in the
making
new
fun of the shield in 2021.
They're so bad.
And then we get to 1984. I'm like, oh my god,
stupid blocks.
Oh my god,
that's why it's weird. It's like you guys got to see this experience backwards for me, because like when I was watching it in the new one, I was like, okay, they improved on the shields. I still don't like them,
but I did really like the Navigator.
Yeah. Oh, the Navigator looks.
Oh, in
awesome.
the old one?
Yeah, in the old one.
Okay. Dude, that was my fault with the new one. It's like I wanted to see the Navigator.
Maybe they're saving some stuff.
Yeah, maybe they haven't gotten there yet.
They want to.
You'll get to see something shoot lightning out of its butt, I'm sure.
The Navigator is like if the baby from Eraserhead grows up.
Dude, it's so cool. It's so cool. And you know what? What I really like in the new one is when I was replaying it, in the intro, they have that deep throat singing exposition. It's just like a little like what dreams are messages from the deep and stuff like that. And I thought that was the Navigator. And it's not the Navigator. It's the whatever war priest from the Sardaukar. Remember how it shows like the Sardaukar with the upside down crosses and like the people that are bleeding out and stuff like that on that planet before they go?
You're making too many names of things that I'm not going to.
Those are the super
stormtroopers.
assassins.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
not
super
the regular
assassins.
assassins.
I get behind
Super scary
super
ones.
assassins.
The stormtrooper guys.
The ones who float down like this.
Yeah, all these names. It makes me feel like I'm watching the first episode of Game of Thrones again.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's daunting.
Why do they all sound
It's daunting
the same?
to walk into.
It's a big universe. Dune is like very well thought out.
It's 421 pages, the first book.
Okay.
And try and fit that into... I mean, David Lynch couldn't even fit it into a 2-hour movie. You know what I mean?
True.
But anyway.
Hey, but Half-Blood Prince is fire. Anyway.
How many pages is that?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, the font in Harry Potter's so big.
They're big books for big dumb readers.
Yeah.
Hey, they're big books for little dumb readers.
That's... Anyways, okay, so we were talking about numbers for 1984, right?
Yeah. I feel like we're really getting into the compare and contrast at this point, so we might as well just get numbers out of the way. Dune 1984 has a 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. Made on a budget of $40 million. 1984, $40 million. That's
a lot of money.
Which is a lot of money.
That is for back then.
This is like the height of cocaine, you know what I mean? At an opening weekend of $6,025,091 and is currently worldwide grossed as of today $30,979,816. So they're very close to breaking even soon.
It's a constant loss. For like 40 years, it's a constant loss. That's crazy,
it's like
man.
David Lynch's first and only big box office movie.
I could see how it was probably pretty hard for Denis Villeneuve to be like, Dune, let's do Dune. And then
maybe. Well, I think there is a little bit about like people being excited about existing properties.
True.
Although I kind of, I think people were like, is it going to work?
I was scared when I first heard about, I trust Denis Villeneuve because I really like all his films. He really is a super visionary director. I was worried though still because everyone has like touted this story as like something that just can't be put into a film. It should be an HBO series, and I still contend that like this should be a series to really give it the justice due.
I mean, I don't know how. We'll have to wait till part 2 before I make. I should probably read it too. That probably really give me make a decision.
It's a good book.
Yeah, I suppose.
I just wait. Do you have more numbers before I?
I guess we could do numbers for part 2 really quick, or for
sure.
the new one. Dune 2021. It's got 155 minutes of runtime, so a little bit longer with less story.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
It feels
that makes sense then. That makes sense.
Yeah, I felt like I was in both of these movies. I was like, I kept like pausing really quick or checking the time to see like how much more I had left. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's strap in.
I watched that one twice, the new one, and I was like, my God, can this movie please end?
I was going to, and I was like, nah.
I got to the part where they got to the sandstorm, and I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Just
I feel you.
Please stop.
Currently an 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb and an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. Made on a budget of $165 million.
Ooh. But it already brought it back, I think.
Yes, you are correct. Opening weekend, they would rake in $41,011,174, and currently, as of today, has worldwide grossed $299,330,171.
Almost brought back double.
And then you also got to keep in mind too that this is a movie you could stream.
Yeah.
So it's like even crazier.
You probably got some new subscriptions on there too.
Yeah.
Well, I'd imagine for people who enjoyed the film more than David and I, who may have streamed it at home, loved it, and they were like, "Man, I got to go see this thing in the theater. I got to see this thing on the big screen now."
Personally, I really enjoyed the big screen experience. The sound, especially with Dolby Atmos and stuff like that, was just gnarly, really good. I feel like you were going to say something when we cut you off.
Oh, earlier, you know what? I was just going to say. And I know that this is the inspiration to many other sci-fi and everything, so it's probably like a bit sacrilegious to say and everything, but like, just didn't think the story was all that interesting. You know what I mean? For a story that's been held in such reverence, like Brandon is always talking about, I gotta read Dune. It's essential. Yeah. It's so good or whatever. I was expecting this to be like mind blowing, but it's a pretty typical story.
Yeah.
Like it's, there's a house that's rising up and they backstab him and then that's it.
It's all just the sci-fi detailing that goes into it.
And
it's a rich universe.
From the story comes from,
If the story really ends with like riding giant sandworms to attack space Nazis, I'm like, well,
it doesn't.
This is all. See, and that's the thing. I'm only judging this off 2 movies.
Yeah,
and one of them not being very good.
I feel like
for not being very good.
If I had to make an analogy, it'd be like watching half of Star Wars: A New Hope and being like, I don't know if I want to stick around for the rest of it because I don't know where it's going and I don't care.
I just don't think you could do that, though. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
You get halfway into New Hope, you're in. You know?
Well, what I'm saying is, imagine if A New Hope got stretched from the middle point to the beginning as the whole runtime of A New Hope. And then it was like, don't you want to stick around for like 4 more movies?
I think that's fair. And you know what? Like, Star Wars isn't exactly groundbreaking ideas. I mean, other than, Empire Strikes Back.
Well, it's Star
Kissing
Wars.
your sister.
Yeah, Star Wars is inspired by Dune, too. Dune predates it by 20 years.
But what see, I hear this too, but like, what exactly isn't the desert?
Well, I'm sure it's the same thing like we were talking about, like the hero's journey.
But Dune didn't invent the hero's journey, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but as a sci-fi, I guess sci-fi thing, a spacing guild, intergalactic travel, space witches. The Jedi are exactly space witches.
They're space wizards.
Space wizards.
I do like the space witches.
Dude, the Bene Gesserit is one of the coolest parts. It's in the background.
That's probably what I was most excited about.
Which I've also heard that HBO's in development of just a show about the Bene Gesserit, like from
I might check that out. I could get into
honestly,
that.
Interesting.
They did the Bene Gesserit so much better in the new one. And they made them rightfully creepy and like really weird. Like there's this.
I don't really remember in the new one, but they have the stupid half bald head.
That's in the old one. Yeah.
Yeah, that looked real dumb.
That looked real dumb. But in the new one, they have like the huge headpieces and they're like shrouded in black and stuff.
Yes, I really liked the concept and the look of the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like the test felt more intense in the new one.
Yeah.
Whatever that test was.
Oh, the Gamjabar test.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everything feels a little bit more intense. You know what I mean? There's just something really hokey about the old one. Until you get those few little, like,
gems,
trippy David Lynch scenes.
Yeah.
That like, stuff's, like, awesome.
I think it's the scene where, in the old one, House Atreides is going to the Emperor or something like that. And, like, you can just see, like, Paul, like, laying down, and then it goes, like, negative. And then it shows like the transition scene with like a back swirl of dust and you see the navigator like floating in his face. And I'm just like, this is so just like a 80s prog band music video right now.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Speaking of which, Toto was the soundtrack.
Oh, Toto was the soundtrack. Yeah, okay, soundtrack
the original.
Time. Yeah, Toto's sound with Brian Eno doing a guitar solo,
which is crazy.
That is pretty nuts. I kind of dig the music from the old tune.
Dude,
I got no problems with it.
Oh, the guitar solos made me think a lot of like Bill and Ted's, the like soaring guitar solo.
It's got those moments.
Yeah,
I would imagine it's just like that. Yeah,
that Kiss song. What is it? God gave rock and roll to this.
Yeah.
You need to watch Bill and Ted, Danny.
I know. I'm feeling out of it right now. I liked Hans Zimmer's score. Aside from the throat singing one, I really like Hans Zimmer's score.
Well, you know what? I got to give him credit on the old throat singing tune because this is the first time that I've remembered a Hans Zimmer melody in decades.
That's true.
Like Hans Zimmer it's always serviceable, but it's always just like dramatic sounding music.
Yeah.
Nothing ever, not that everything needs a melody, but I mean, it makes it a lot more memorable if you have a melody.
For sure.
It's not like if you heard it in the wild, you'd be like, oh, that's the theme from so-and-so.
Yeah, whereas like in the 70s, 80s, a movie comes out, you know what the theme song is.
Yeah.
Especially big blockbustery movies.
I think, honestly, the only other Hans Zimmer one that I can recall just off the top of my head is the one from the Man of Steel. For the Superman one, and that's it. And it sounds like that Chariots of Fire song.
Oh,
that's what it sounds like.
It does. Gladiator sticks out to me a little bit, which is funny.
I forgot he did Gladiator.
Gladiator sounds a lot like this one. It sounds like he reused a couple like ideas from the Gladiator.
The Gladiator's great. There's nothing wrong with the Gladiator.
He's using that Middle Eastern harmonic minor scale.
He's got a lot of sand too, so there's that. They got that in common. Can I say a thing that for me puts 1984 in just a really high position that makes it difficult for 2021 to, quite frankly, even come close to 1984.
Are you going to say the cute little pug?
I am going to say the cute little pug, man. There are not enough pugs in Dune 2021.
Oh my God, I was totally kidding, but that was a big thing for me. I was like, well, 2021 didn't have a cute little dog.
No, and that dog is there the whole time, man. He's just hanging out.
Yep.
He's following the crew. I think Patrick Stewart's even like shooting a couple people while he's got the pug in his arms.
Patrick Stewart was great as Gurney.
Man, pugs were like
good.
attack dogs for like royalty, like way back.
I think
when.
you're thinking of Shih Tzus, no?
No, pugs too.
Oh, didn't know.
Love them. Love the pugs.
But terrible health problems.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Poor little guys.
But that was definitely a big point for me too, David. I was like, man, if I was keeping some kind of score while I was watching this movie, I would have had to give it like 1,000 points or something for this pug.
What loses its 1,000 points, and maybe Danny will agree on this, is that Sting is like way too much in this movie.
Oh, he actually brought this point up the other day when we were talking about it. Go ahead, just tell me like that feeling when they first show Sting, and it's like,
oh man, every time the camera goes to Sting, Sting has to look right at the camera, and they hit on him super hard. And he's just like, yeah, can you believe it?
Look at this tantric sex god's body.
Yes.
To me,
when he's in that like little
the
bikini
underwear?
codpiece thing. Ugh.
It made me think that they signed Sting up, convincing him that he was playing Rocky in like a Rocky Horror Picture Show reboot, and no one told him.
Oh, and that
And
knife
then he
fight.
just showed up and was just like,
That knife fight at the end of the first Dune is just so annoying.
Where he's just monologuing the whole
it's
time.
just like, and he's doing little flips.
It reminded
This bad
me
guy.
of the like weasel rat character in the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh yeah.
yeah, Sting is really bad. And then his characters,
They're not in
he's
it.
not in 2021.
Fade's not in yet.
Fade.
Yeah.
So I think that they should make a really good casting choice because maybe they can give it some justice.
They could probably get Sting back in the role.
That'd be cool.
Give him another chance.
I do think that Dave Bautista did a good job as Raban.
Dave Bautista is the best wrestler turned actor.
Dude, right?
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
fair.
Next to The Rock?
And no, better than The Rock. Better than The Rock, man. I mean, his Drax is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like one of the most enjoyable
Is it
MCU
that
roles.
he's best in makeup?
Well, even in Bond, he's in a couple
forgot
of the
about
newer
that.
Bond movies, and he's just a great henchman in those movies. It's excellent. And he's in Blade Runner 2049. 2049. I always forget the last number.
I just have to
Awesome in that
gush
role, too.
about that movie. I love that movie.
I love that
so
movie, man.
much.
I love
so much better than Blade Runner.
It's not boring.
No.
Which Blade Runner is it drags a little
To
bit.
be fair, if I didn't know anything about Blade Runner and I saw Blade Runner 2049, I'd probably fall asleep because it's kind of boring. But like, if you have an affinity for Blade Runner, like, I mean, that's kind of the instance here in some ways. You know what I mean? But it can be said that Denis Villeneuve doesn't make boilerplate movies.
No. I mean,
he definitely makes it for the fandom.
although I mean Blade Runner 2049 is just Blade Runner again, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he does I mean
It's
the dynamic has
reboot.
changed.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
dynamic has changed. And it's got a little more pulpiness.
It's a little
to
faster
it.
too.
Yeah, it's a little faster. Man, well, okay, there's something else. Oh, in 1984, I gotta say, I love how disgusting the spitting scene is.
Oh god.
When he spits on that girl's face, dude.
Yes.
It is so nasty, man. And I'm like, David Lynch, thank you for going here.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
There's some
How
moments-
many takes do you think he made her take?
Like 100. He pulled a Kubrick or something.
There's so many like cartoony moments that only David Lynch could have pulled off in it, and I'm just like, what the
really
hell?
weird tone. But you know what? That is David Lynch's humor. He's got
Yeah.
really weird, kind of like out of place humor.
Yeah.
I just watched Eraserhead, and there's a couple things. There's like jokes in that movie, and it's like, what's going on? This movie's so uncomfortable, man. Like,
Yeah.
why are you doing this to me?
You
right
know,
now?
I should preface this by saying I don't like Twin Peaks. Like, I don't get it.
Well, I was joking around with you the other day. It's like, I don't think anyone actually likes David Lynch. Everyone just says they like David Lynch. You know what I mean? It's like being, I don't know,
It's like saying you like
Sigur Rós or
Yeah,
Sigur
well, I
Rós.
like Sigur Rós, but
Does anyone really though? No, I'm just kidding.
people in Iceland do.
Are there people in Iceland? I don't know.
That's a new theory.
Prove it to me.
New
It's
conspiracy.
a lot of lambs.
I should say another difference that was missing from the new one is the sound weapons.
Oh, you're talking about the Elder Scrolls Skyrim
The Phosphor
fighting
Dot.
speak.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a lot better. I immediately went to that South Park episode with the psychics, like,
Yeah, similar though.
yeah.
Just way more effective.
They practically say Phosphor Dot like the entire time.
Seriously,
too.
it's really funny.
Is that? Do you remember? Is that in the book?
It's not from the books. No.
Really?
No, just
Okay.
the voices, but not this whole the weirding way they say or whatever, where they amplify it and turn it into like a projectile
Where their
weapon.
voice, amplifies their hand-to-hand
Yeah.
weapon. It
Yeah.
is really weird.
No.
The end of the movie gets real dumb.
Let's just say the voice is better in the new one too. The voice is cool. I like that there's like a moment where like you can see the filming of the characters saying the word, and there's like a lag between hearing it. And then like there's like, especially in the moment where like the Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother tells Paul she uses the voice on him to come over for the pain box, and he like passes out for a second, and you wake up like with him right in front of her too. I thought that was really well done too. But
I kind of like the 80s voice more. I don't know.
Weird.
I'm when I saw it in the new movie, I was just not sold by it right away. And then when I saw the 80s one, I was like, okay, I can deal with this. It's the opposite feeling I had with the suits. I was talking mad trash about the suits when that showed up in the new movie.
That's so weird.
I was like, this looks so bad. Like
really?
the shield
the Fremen
suits.
Suit? Oh,
no, the shield,
okay.
the shield thing. I was like, this looks awful. I can't believe they're like actually putting this in a movie.
Yep.
And then you saw the old one?
And then they hit the Star Fox Super Nintendo.
But even the new one feels like a placeholder, like something they did. So like, yeah, this is more or less what it'll look like later. And then they intended to go back and like finish it. But
it's like seeing them in like sequential motion too when they're fighting. And what I didn't like about it too is like it takes away from the specialness of like feeling when someone's stabbed, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, also, what are the rules with the suit?
Yeah,
I'm glad
is
we're
it
getting
red?
into this.
Does the red mean it's pierced and you're dead? Because that happens to the Duke Leto when that hunter seeker's like getting him in the back of the neck and stuff. You know what I mean?
And when that happens, because they set up this thing up where it's like, because the Thanos, which is confusing. It's like, how is this going to tie into the MCU? It's like Josh Brolin playing a different character. Is a prequel?
Different
is he
universe.
going to become Thanos?
Yeah, could.
I don't know. I just don't know how.
Gurney.
And it's like they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel with Marvel characters. It's like, who wants Timothy Chalamet in the MCU?
Is he in the MCU?
America. Well, I mean, Dune is an MCU movie, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? The most boring MCU
But
movie.
I thought you said it's DC. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's got the aesthetics of DC, which actually, it sounds like we're describing Eternals, which looks like a DC movie.
It does look like Dune Eternals when I saw it.
Did we accidentally do it in Eternals podcast?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, man, that movie.
I've heard some buzz that it's pretty bad.
Dude, it's now the lowest rated.
Is it out right now?
Well, it's getting the pre-reviews, and it's the first rotten reviewed movie.
Ooh, yikes.
MCU movie, which kind of makes me want to watch it more.
You're like,
Did
how
you see
bad does it
Shang-Chi?
suck, though?
I didn't see it yet.
I haven't seen Shang-Chi, which I've heard is good.
I've heard it's good too, but I don't know how
Black
much is
Widow is kind of, this isn't bad, but I mean, it's not gonna bring movie theaters back to life by any means. Anyway, what were we talking? Oh yeah, so the suit.
Oh, okay, well, we're talking the shields though.
The shield. Sorry, I keep saying suit, but it's a shield. It's a little bracelet, really.
They're sound shields or something.
So they set up. Thanos says, "Hey, if the blade is slow, it can go through the shield."
Oh.
And when they
The
kill
slow blade pierces the shield.
when they kill Oscar Isaac, the leader of House Atreides,
Duke Leto.
Yeah, Jared Leto Atreides.
Jared Leto.
It's going slow through his back. It's like, oh, okay, I get what they're doing. But then later when Khal Drogo is fighting off a bunch of people, he's just slicing people. And
And he gets stabbed twice, and then does the cheesy
And
pop-up.
he doesn't get stabbed slowly. It's like, got him.
Dude, and then they do the cheesy pop-up after he's like, I save you, Deus Ex Machina, blam.
Oh, yeah, when he pulls the sword out of his chest.
Yeah, it was so dumb.
He pulls the sword out of his chest, no one notices, and then ruins the element of surprise by yelling. I'm like, what?
I hated it.
I wish they just didn't include... I mean, I know...
Duncan Idaho?
Well, first off, Duncan Idaho is one of the dumbest names I've ever
Definitely
heard.
a stupid name. Don't know why it's in
It sounds
there.
like a
Is
Johnny
that the
Cash
character's
song.
name? Like,
Yeah, it is
in
the
book?
character in the book, yeah. Don't know why. It kind of takes you out of it.
It does.
Yeah, you're like, what?
All the names do, to be honest, like Paul.
I like Paul Atreides. I think it sounds super futuristic or something like that.
Well, Atreides sounds cool, but
Paul. Like,
Yeah,
he could have
Paul.
been like
Leto sounds
Kevin
cool.
Atreides.
Lady
Jim
Jessica.
Atreides.
Jim Atreides.
there's a lot of just regular names, though, in this movie. It's not just Paul.
And then there's some Scottish influence from it too.
Yeah.
Like Atreides and Gurney. Gurney is Scottish. I mean, there's things that you can pull from the old world that are purposely put in there that you don't know if like Earth exists in this world or not. I
bet they're not a part of that federation.
Until Sting shows up.
that you know.
Then you know he's been watching you. I just wish the suits weren't even... Or I keep saying suits. I just wish the shields weren't even a thing. Because they don't follow the rules. They look dumb in both
There's
movies.
a few rules they don't follow, especially in the second one. They have that whole thing about the rhythmic walking in the sand, but later on, when they're with the Fremen, they're just like
running,
walking.
Yeah, they drop that. Well, they might not be in worm territory.
Yeah, it is only in worm territory.
Which you would think would be the
Fremen know
whole
where.
desert. Yeah, the Fremen would know. They probably know their migrational
hunting
patterns, hunting
stuff.
grounds, all that stuff.
Yeah, because it goes deeper.
The worms?
They do go deeper. There's like, there's just so many things, like little small things. Like I have a list of the differences between the two.
Oh, okay.
First thing, the Spacing Guild is not shown in 2021, and the Spacing Guild are the people in the black suits that were with the Navigator in like the first scene of New Dune.
Okay.
I think they're implied, but you're right.
They're implied, but and then they're a bigger part of the overarching plot. Again, the Emperor, whatever, Shaddam IV, not shown in 2021 at all. Which I hope they cast him well, because he's so cartoony in the 1980s one. He's like just basic nemesis guy. Paul is Muad'Dib. The sound weapons aren't in there.
Good choice.
Piter, the Mentat, which they don't explain the Mentats at all in the new one, which is like, that's kind of a big thing. The Mentats are...
Isn't that what you take to regain VATS points in
and it's
Fallout?
it's a homage to Dune.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Because Mentats are supercomputer humans. Like, there's no AI in the Dune universe. AI was largely like outlawed thousands of years before for some reason, because people relied.
Was there like a Terminator Skynet type situation?
Yeah, there was like an AI uprising, and it's outlawed and stuff. And so that's why there's the reliance on machines is like to a minimum, and that's pretty much why there's no intergalactic space travel. But that's why they rely on things like the Mentats, who are trained from like a baby's age to like do complex calculations and stuff. So they're essentially human computers. And that's why they're given like maesters to any one of the houses. That's why Harkonnen has a Mentat. That's why Atreides has a Mentat. They have two Mentats. They have Dr. Yue. Oh, no. Dr. Yue is something else.
Yeah.
Anyways, but that's why there's an homage to Mentats, because Mentats like heightens your perception and all that stuff.
Okay.
Anyways, Piter is the guy Darren Malakian or whatever his name is.
Polka Dot Man?
Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the new one, he's great. In the old one, he's played by Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
Who is also... Isn't that also Chucky? Isn't that also the voice of Chucky?
I think it is Brad Dourif.
Yeah,
Brad
Brad Dourif.
That is the voice
So I
of
thought
Chucky.
that was fun. Let's see. Yeah, I just said, Jessica doesn't give birth to the baby, and then the weird baby turns into a weird girl in the old one.
Well, I mean, that might happen, though, because that's after the point where things are... things have...
we haven't even gotten to like the Frenem village or whatever we're going to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they alluded to some of it, but like, before the spice was discovered, Arrakis was on its way to becoming a paradise. They were terraforming it to be from a desert planet into like a fruitful paradise. And they show some of that in the new one too. But then the spice got discovered, and they were all like, well, let's rape this resource from these people.
Yeah.
And it never... And
makes sense.
As you do.
Sounds like a sound business decision.
Even though people are trying to get rid of the worms because they're hindering the spice... what's the word? Taking.
Mining?
Mining, the spice mining. Thank you. The worms are the reason why there is spice. The worms. Spice. Because...
Ooh, is it like their poop?
I mean, kind of. It's kind of like their poop. It's like the sand trout, which are the baby worms, create the spice from moving through the sand in Dune.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they need the sandworms. Shouldn't this be conveyed?
Well, first off, yes. But then secondly, it just seems like this is more trouble than it's worth. They just need to get old Burt Gummer out there.
That's
some
true.
worms.
Get rid of some worm.
You just need to capture a worm and then torture
Wrangle
it
it.
for spice.
Yeah. As long as you don't juice them.
You telling me evil space Nazis aren't going to do that? And then they will juice them, and then you'll have
Just try
giant...
to get more like spice production out of
To
them.
be fair, they are impenetrable, though. So, kind of hard. Hard to
Okay,
do.
Frank, all right, whatever.
I know, right? Yeah.
All right.
The worms are impenetrable?
My
Yeah.
worms are impenetrable.
Dude, you telling me Burt Gummer's not like he's too afraid to go inside the worm?
Yeah.
He's just gonna shove himself in a barrel, like a drum barrel.
I feel like
hop inside a worm.
Shai Hulud, the big worm, is... I'm sorry.
No, I'm just... If you're the listener and you're very confused right now, we're talking about Tremors.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about Tremors. Sorry.
We need to explain
He was a
joke.
channel champ for a good while.
Nah, I assume everybody knows about Tremors, and if you don't know about Tremors, then this part of the conversation is not for you.
Good movie pairing. Dune and Tremors.
But Tremors 4.
Get your worms on. What was I going to say? Shai Hulud, the big worm, to be fair, I think is bigger than any graboid in history.
It's like the biggest movie worm ever, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what, 400 meters long, they said, is the biggest one? And I think that, I'm not European, but I think that's like from here to Albuquerque. No, that's kilometers. I'm sorry.
That's kilometers.
That's even better.
Yeah.
That's
Just wrong.
You landed the joke. The joke is hit. Oh, man. Man, I mean, 1984, I'm trying to think of what else to say about it. Oh, well... what's his name? Kyle.
Oh, Kyle McLaughlin.
Kyle McLaughlin.
I think he kills it, dude.
He does a good job. He plays it very different.
It's his first role.
Whoa.
First on-screen role.
And then him and Lynch are tight after that.
Big old buddies.
But Kyle McLaughlin, he comes at the role very different than Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
He's a little more charismatic. He's like a little more
entitled. He's less entitled.
Less just like broody teenager.
Yes.
Yeah. They wanted a Jon Snow performance, I feel like, from Timothy Chalamet.
I was getting a little more of like a Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah,
vibe,
that too. Definitely.
I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of my complaints of the new one. Well, let's get into... You guys have complaints of the new one.
Oh, I mean, so many. Is there anything else about... Well, I guess we can keep hopping back and forth.
I haven't really said many of my complaints of the new one, but I'll say, like, I got a couple. I mean, obviously we talked about the sound shields, how they should have just left it out. It's kind of dumb because it doesn't even serve the later plot.
Or at the very least... just be consistent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have settled for consistency.
All you need to do is have something where the shield gets messed up.
Yeah, break.
Yeah.
Break it like glass.
They're running
or
away and he hits
you know?
it on the wall and then we see it frits. Okay, we're good.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. I also understand that there were some pacing issues, especially when it gets into the whole seeing Zendaya Chani thing, thing that keeps happening over and over again.
You mean just like seeing her really quick, like looking back over her shoulder really fast?
Seeing
just
who?
Chani, when Chalamet.
Do you mean Zendaya? That's why she's in the movie.
Yeah, it's too much. They do it too many times. They should have just done it like once or maybe briefly every now and then. You know what I mean?
I kind of don't mind it just because in the old one, when Chalamet meets up with this girl who's Chani's supposed to be like his soulmate or whatever's going on in the story.
She's the gatekeeper.
Yeah. You don't know who she is though in the David Lynch one. You're like, what? Yeah. And in this one, at least I'm like, okay, he's seeing her in the dream.
Hey, that's the lady from the thing.
But the pacing is weird because Zendaya's got like 6 lines in this movie.
Yeah.
At the tail end.
I'm not going to let you kill my friend.
Yeah, that's it.
He's a good fighter.
It's an honor to die with this blade. It's like,
this isn't the begin. This is only the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I know. That kind of pissed me off.
How much money did she make off this?
A lot.
And then like the false advertisement of how much she's in this trailer too.
Yeah, they were really pushing her as part of the marketing.
They're like, we got Mary Jane, y'all. Come on, come check this thing out.
I think a lot of it too, and when we're talking about pacing, is like, they didn't really do a good job. Obviously, they didn't do a good job of conveying a lot of important things to the audience in this movie, which I hope they like kind of go back and do in the next one. But like, the reason Paul sees things that are happening that aren't necessarily going to happen is he sees like an eventuality of all these different paths, and he's looking for the golden path, obviously, which is like the most optimal way to get through these things. Kind of like Doctor Strange looks through all those possibilities of things that can happen. That's why we see like, gosh, I don't even know his name. Jameis, I think, is one of the Fremen who's like in his visions, he's like his friend and he helps him like on, later on. It's kind of confusing. You're just like, what? He kills this dude.
Yeah, it is a little weird. You kind of have to, I mean, you have to kind of spell it out as you're going along.
Sure. Like,
okay, this is real? Wait. It could be real?
Yeah.
What?
And they're not conveying that right enough where it's just like he's seeing these things, and that's why before he fights him, he sees eventualities where he gets stabs and dies. So it's really like Paul's honing in on his Kwisatz Haderach, his ability
So you're telling me essentially he's like Michael J. Fox at the beginning of Teen Wolf, where he really hasn't figured out how to utilize his new power.
Definitely.
He's just still in the awkward growing phase.
Yeah.
But eventually he will be like surfing on top of cars and slam dunking basketballs.
When he awakens, when the sleeper awakens, like Paul gets super powerful. But what they also should convey is that like this, it sets up Paul to be this like Messiah, Anakin Skywalker, but he's really not the Messiah. He's really not past. In a couple books later, it's all about his son later down the line. But I mean, also that. But Paul, like,
well, that sounds like Star Wars.
Yeah, but it does actually. And then
that sounds a lot like Star Wars.
Actually, Paul becomes the reason that the Fremen and him like commit like holy war jihad on the rest of the universe.
Oops.
It's like a cleansing, yeah. Because he's uber powerful at that point, and they like he's like their god to them. So, anyways, this
sounds a lot. It sounds very interesting. Although it sounds like Godfather. It sounds like
it does kind of.
Yeah, it does sound like the Space Godfather.
That's kind of cool.
Which is pretty cool.
Actually. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Speaking of Godfather, I loved Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Harkonnen.
Oh, he's
he was
great.
So much better than the original Baron.
Oh, very creepy, very evil. The original Baron is like pretty over the top. I mean, I like his performance, but it's so stupid.
There's a moment where he's floating around like a balloon in the whole time. Dude,
it was pretty crazy.
I think they did Harkonnen pretty good justice in the new one.
Well, since we're talking about characters, here's one of my biggest complaints about 2021 Dune. And that's, I don't really care about any of these people whatsoever.
Fair enough.
Especially, I think about like them killing Poe Dameron at the beginning, Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, who is this? You know what I mean? it would be the same. And I'm going to talk about Game of Thrones again, so I'm sorry you haven't seen Game of Thrones, or spoiler alerts, I guess.
Get on with it.
It would be like if they killed Eddard Stark in the first 20 minutes of the first episode of Game of Thrones. You would be like, okay, who cares?
Yeah.
So that guy died.
Yeah. He's like, oh, he seems like a good guy. He's dead.
I can assume he is, you know what I mean? But in Game of Thrones, they set up immediately where Eddard Stark is like sentencing this guy to death, and he's like the one who passes the sentence should swing the axe or whatever, or swing the sword. And immediately we're like, okay, he's got this code that he lives by, and this is... But in Dune, it's like, okay, he's just leader?
Yeah, he's just space daddy.
Yeah, he's just like, we need sand power.
Yeah. Like, they don't explain why.
He's got medals on his uniform, so you know he's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
He's just boilerplate good guy.
He doesn't even have a cute little dog.
And then we got...
I do care about Jessica, though. I think she's the one I care about the most in Dune.
The sexual...
This is the concubine?
Yes, the concubine.
For her husband...
For her non-married husband.
For Senior Duke and Little Duke, too, apparently.
Oh, whoa. No. Yeah, that was a weird sequence.
Some weird sexual tension. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's in both movies, actually.
It's weird. And then also, I looked it up because I was like, Rebecca Ferguson. I just saw her in Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
She's awesome in Dr. Sleep.
Oh, dude, she kills it.
But I was like, she can't be that old. They're putting some makeup on her. She's only 12 years older than Timothée Chalamet.
Huh. How old is she? He's like 25, right? Or something like that? 23?
Yeah, Timothée Chalamet's a little bit younger than us. She was born in 83.
So she's about 48?
And
38, sorry.
Chalamet was born in 95.
Okay.
So, I mean, they're like a little... They're close enough that it's like... When there is tension between them... You can really feel it. Like it feels like maybe after like during the filming of this movie, maybe they like got together and like, you know,
got a little something.
Had some drinks and talked.
Maybe it's like a weird occupational confusion that's happening in her head. She was like, I am the Duke's concubine. Wait, Paul's the Duke now? Like, wait, am I? Some wires are getting crossed here.
There's some Oedipian overtones.
Well, there's a scene where the scene we're talking about is in the new Dune. It's after they get out of the sandstorm in the Firefly helicopter for some reason, but I
thought that was a cool design.
I mean, it's interesting, but why? It just doesn't seem very efficient.
The ornithopter.
But yeah, they got to change into the desert suits because it'll kill you if you're not in the desert suit. And Like,
It's a little weird.
they do that like 1980s thing where it's like, I don't know.
They look at each other.
take a turn peeking on each other.
I need to change. Can you turn around?
Yeah.
And they're both like, huh?
Is it intentional? I don't know, because that.
How could that not be intentional?
I mean, it's got to be, right?
What is the intention is
I
what
don't
I need to know.
because that's also in the 80s one too. Like there's like a moment, not that moment, but there's just like moments where you're just like he's ordering her around.
Well,
like
Danny, you're the resident nerd here. There's nothing in the books about these two banging, this unholy union.
no, there's not banging. I mean,
they don't mention the sexual tension at all happening between this mother and son.
I don't notice that, I guess, if I remember correctly, to be honest. But I mean, a lot of it is like, obviously it's built on stories of like the hero's journey, and you got like Oedipus kind of like undertones, but like there's a moment, if I remember correctly, in the Bible where like a son and his mom are banished.
Wait, what are we talking about right now? Did you just bring up the Bible?
I did, yeah.
Like,
there's a
okay.
moment in the Bible where the son and his mom, I can't remember if it's Sarah or who, are like banished for the good from God, who banishes them into the desert, and they have to like struggle through the desert, and that boy eventually becomes the first prophet of Islam, and that's where like the Quran and the Bible kind of intersect in some ways. Now, someone please comment where that is, but I think it's
Leviticus.
I mean,
12,
it could be.
14,
I mean, it could
I'm
be.
sorry.
It could be Exodus.
I don't know.
But yeah, I think it's Sarah and Ishmael. No, I don't know.
Call me Ishmael.
It might be. It might be. I'm wrong.
This
I'm
is
gonna
my
look that
mom
up.
life.
But it's that dynamic. But I don't know
Interesting.
why there's these overt sexual tones between them too.
It was a bit weird, although I do agree with you, though. She is one of the more enjoyable characters who actually has a motivation.
Yes.
Who I like understand who she is.
And she's super on top of it.
Yeah.
And she kills it. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's really good at that role.
I mean, the only other characters that leave any impression, I mean, you got Josh Brolin, who's just like angry.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good. And then
I'm so glad that Momoa died.
Yeah,
Like,
Big Brother Momoa is too much for
oh
me.
god, it's annoying. But Duncan Idaho is just that character too. I actually care about Harkonnen because I want to know. I mean, he's like really good at perpetuating this villainous thing.
Harkonnen is
Baron. I'm sorry, the Baron.
Ah, okay. I'm like, man, there's too many people in this movie.
And I'm trying to think. Stilgar was really good. Javier Bardem. He was great.
Oh, yeah, he is good. But I feel like Javier Bardem he was just pulling out his performance from Skyfall.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Do you see what she does, James?
I like that moment though, where he's
uses
just
people.
like he like dismisses. Obviously, he does the spitting thing, and he like tells him what he wants.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "That's all I have to say to you." He just walks out. I love that.
He is cool. He plays it like a boss. Timothy Chalamet is okay. I mean,
He's alright.
the thing is, this role requires him to be like a little bit formidable, and I just don't buy it.
Yeah,
Because he's got the
a
body
twink.
of like a wet bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and every time there's a fight, I just feel like they're patting each other's shoulders. Like at the end of the movie, when they're pulling the Black Panther fight scene, like to see who's the new leader.
Yes.
Timothy Chalamet's just like patting him, and then like holding up his knife, and then they trip each other really quick. And then it's also, I don't know, it's shot really annoyingly, where it's so close that you can't even
tell what's
see
going
what's
on.
really going on.
You have to cheat up. If not, it'll look super awkward with Timothy Chalamet rolling around.
Yeah.
Also, weird thing that you guys also brought up is like, wait a second. The Fremen have pistols? When did that happen?
Yeah.
And why does no one have pistols?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing like bombing runs and stuff. It's like, no one's got a gun though? Like,
yeah.
they have anti-aircraft missiles and,
And it's
stuff.
like really just swords?
Yeah. But I guess the shields that are
I
just
guess they're impenetrable by
they're literal
bullets.
plot armor. It's like what do these even mean?
Don't know why. I don't know why.
It is weird.
It's not in the book. I mean, it is in the book too that there's no guns, at least in the first book.
Yeah.
So, what are you gonna do?
I mean, yeah, we just have to leave it there. Like, it is strange. I mean, I like the aesthetic, but you need to explain a little bit more.
There's a lot that should go as a companion to the first movie, but like, how successful is the movie if it's not actually conveying what you should be understanding about the story? And like,
Yeah.
you should go in it, coming out of it. Like, put it into context. Like something like the first Avengers film is almost 3 hours, right? It's 2.5 hours, 2 hours
It's
maybe.
it's got to be for sure 2.5.
It's
I feel like.
probably close to the runtime of this, and I'm sure that there's mom and dads and people that went to see this movie that like went in knowing nothing about Marvel and could come out of that movie knowing what's going on.
You know
what I mean?
You can trash talk, Marvel's super formulaic movies, but every movie you could watch on its own and not feel like, I needed to watch 6 hours of other movies. And I mean, some of them will be more fulfilling than others.
They're not stupidly dumped exposition, and I honestly wish there was more exposition in the new one. There should be more explanation for a lot of things.
2 hours, 23 minutes, the first Avengers.
Oh, so it's almost the exact same.
When you think about like how many characters they juggle in a movie like Endgame and do it successfully, or Infinity War really does it better. It's like, shoot, in my head, I got to really be like, we could have paced things out a little bit better than this.
Yeah, that's my hope for the next one, is that there's a little bit of backtracking to give some exposition, and then a little bit of world building, and that they stick the landing. And I hope it's just the last one of part one. Just,
you know what would have sealed the deal? A good old fashioned text crawl.
Yeah.
Hit us Star Wars. Just hit us with some stuff. Let's let us read it real quick, and then we'll feel a little more.
Kind of gets you.
I wouldn't have been upset about it. I would have been like, oh, thank you. I appreciate this, because I have no idea what I'm getting myself into right now.
Yeah, and it would have been better than having the lady from Candyman say it to us. Because she's the princess in the 84 one.
Is it really?
The love interest from the original Candyman.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
Anthony's mom?
And who?
Anthony's mom, or the witch lady from Candyman?
No, it's the one that Candyman...
The reporter. Like the main character. Okay. Yeah.
That's...
I was like,
that's like the strange... That's one of the stranger parts of the 1980s one, is the opening and just like, okay, wait, who's this? And then you don't find out till later it's the Emperor's daughter, but it's like, why are you giving the exposition?
Who's this lady?
Yeah, at least Chani giving the exposition in this movie,
sense.
which was really light in the 2021 one, but it makes more sense that she's doing it.
Yeah, she's like the beginning sequence. It should be her, yeah.
I mean, I feel like it really should be Timothée Chalamet, because he's like the main character, but that's okay. You don't have to do it. Or Oscar Isaac.
I wish there was
just
more.
Because
you're probably wondering how I got here. Let me see.
I will say at least one thing that 2021 has going for it that is like a saving grace for me. Though it wasn't my favorite movie experience ever, and there at times in my head I was like, man, do I like sci-fi? At the very least, like, I want to see what they do with the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch the second one if anything, just because I feel like I've done the chore and now I want the payoff.
Yeah.
So I got to see
there
that.
better be a payoff.
And I hope that they listen to the feedback. I hope that Denis listens to the feedback and the criticism, and it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe I can tighten things up a little bit, give more exposition, and give people a little bit more what they want.
If you know how we can get in touch with the production team, shoot us their email at uninformedmoviereviews@gmail.com.
He's done a movie like Sicario and Blade Runner. And Sicario, although there are parts that are slow, it's got some good action and good tension. You know what I mean? That thing pushes along.
Bridge sequence?
Dude,
oh my goodness.
That movie pushes along. Both of them are really good. And it's like, they could use some of that oomph in this next one. You know what I mean?
Little oomph.
Yeah.
There's one, I guess, last scene I want to talk about, because I am complaining a lot about how slow the movie feels. It's just more so that it's more than the slowness. It's just like, I just don't care about a lot of these people. Sure. But a slow scene that really worked for me was the date palms.
That was beautiful.
The palm tree is so interesting, and it's such a great metaphor for the movie. It's like, here we are. We've planted ourselves in this area that we don't belong in. And look at all the resources and time that needs to be sacrificed just for us to be here where we shouldn't belong.
Yep.
And then in an instant, it's gone. You know what I mean? It's lost back to the desert. I was like, this is a really awesome visual metaphor here.
And that's not in the book.
Really? Okay, but that's just good stuff, man. I was all behind that. And then
that is a beautiful metaphor, though.
I went back to just being like, what's the rule with this suit? The suit really bothered.
Are you talking about the shield?
Dang it, the shield, okay. Yes, I did it again.
Because if we're talking about the suits, I really like the steel suits. The steel suits look good in both.
Aesthetic design, really nice. Really nice in this movie. Beautiful to look at. Just a bit boring.
A little boring, I get that.
It almost felt to me like a lot of it was leaning on like the scale of the movie and the visuals, you know what I mean?
There wasn't even hard world building though. That's what pisses me off.
Yeah, not even world building, just like
that would have been more welcome.
Hey, look at this.
Don't you think? Like that would have been more welcome, just like you don't want to exposition dump on people, but if you gave them a bit of like a better scale of what's going on in this universe, they might care more.
Yeah.
I think
if
that's
I had
what
context.
I need a little more context, and I needed a little more time to like get into the characters. Because you can have a long movie with long, boring scenes, but if you're not invested in the world and the characters, or if you're confused about what the rules are,
I mean, look at the Lord of the Rings. Look at like the Hobbit, and I mean the Hobbit so much. You care about.
Don't look at the Hobbit.
Yeah, well, I'd say like the first Hobbit. Like you care about the Hobbit because of the world you know from the Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean?
At least for us.
Well, because of the animated series.
Yeah, well that too. Well, you have
the animated film.
You have context, and I think that's why I went into this movie because I knew about the context of the whole world of Dune, and I was just like, cool. I get to see the intricacies of it played out. Maybe not the best way, but it was still good.
Yeah,
and it's a little messed up to compare to Lord of the Rings because it's just so good. But like the first Lord of the Rings movie, I mean, shoot, dude, you watch that first Lord of the Rings movie, you're like, we're watching the other ones now.
Yeah,
and the characters, you're like, yes, and the rules, I get it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I love Denis Villeneuve, but he's no Peter Jackson. Let's just put that out there. Like
the man couldn't make Dead Alive. There's no way.
Fair enough. Or King Kong. I'm just kidding.
So should we? I
think it's our VO time. You know what I mean? Let's get down to the meat. This is why the people came.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we just in unison the year?
In unison the year?
Oh.
Yeah.
Just the last 2 digits or what?
Yeah. Let's go 2-digit year. 3, 2, 21.
84.
Oh, I like 21.
I'm just being a troll more than anything else, but I'd rather take a slightly shorter movie that's really hokey and stupid.
It's so weird because it feels longer than me. The 84 one feels so much longer to me, even though it's like 30 minutes shorter.
It doesn't to me. I don't know.
I don't know.
2021 just there was a moment where I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
So like,
I don't know if I can watch it twice.
For me, the deciding factor was I intended on watching both movies at least twice. You know what I mean? Like really get into it.
That's intense.
After watching 2021, I still intended on watching it again. And ultimately I was like, nah, I'm good. So it didn't happen. But like, it might not have even been at the end of 84, but maybe like at some point during it was like, man, there's no way that you could ever get me to watch this movie ever again. It is not happening. As a matter of fact, my mom was COVID positive recently. Had to rush her to the ER one day to like get her checked out. And at one point I was talking to her on the phone, and a good chunk, maybe 20-30 minutes, we were just trashing on 1984's
Oh,
Dune.
she was too?
Yeah, we were just talking about
how
hilarious it is.
That's hilarious. I think that's the value of 1984's Dune for me is just like it's so unique, it's great because it's stupid, and it's so cheesy and dumb, but there's little sparks of it that are done so right that you're just like, oh, that's awesome. But I mean, 21 is all I've wanted from the Dune universe, and I love seeing any portrayal of Frank Herbert's stuff on the screen, especially from a filmmaker that I care a lot about. And that's why I choose 21. David Lynch, I don't give a crap about. He's got some stuff, but I really don't care.
You know, David Lynch was supposed to do Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And this is actually the movie that he turned it down.
That's hilarious.
Because he was like, I don't want to have to be working under the thumb of George Lucas. I want to make a movie where I can have more creative control. So he chose to do Dune instead. So
Whoops.
How the time could have been different. You know who was originally signed on to adapt Dune?
No, I don't know.
Jodorowsky.
Dude, it
Holy
ruined him.
Mountain. He was gonna make a 13-hour long adaptation of Dune.
Whoa. Oh my god!
And he ran out of money during the storyboarding process.
Ruined him. He drove him crazy, man. But you know, there's some homages.
I mean, he was probably headed that direction anyways. You know what I mean?
Well, there's homages to Jodorowsky's like Holy Mountain in the new Dune too, where they're doing like the sacrifice scene on the stormtrooper planet and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're more cultured now that we've seen that.
And
movie.
the black spider thing. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, that's like some Jodorowsky stuff in there.
But your boy was going to do it after that. Ridley Scott was the next person.
Did you guys notice that weird spider thing
happened.
had like
hands,
people hands?
Yeah.
There's a theory going around that it was Dr. Yue's wife.
Yeah.
Which would have been cool to see, right?
But what didn't he like imply that she was dead already?
Yeah.
Like when he killed Yahweh?
Yeah. So
join her.
Yeah. We don't know.
Did you say Yahweh?
Yahweh.
Yeah, he said God.
Yahweh.
He's like saying God.
Yeah,
Is
he's
it like Yui?
Dr. Yue.
Yue?
Yeah.
Yue.
I just flat out want to say I enjoyed the sandworms more in 1984. Sandworms are okay in the new one. They're all right, but they look cooler in 1984.
I really like the sandworms in Beetlejuice the most, I think.
Oh, dude, that would have been a hilarious one.
You can't even compare, man.
Yeah, those are way better.
All trash talking aside, if you're gonna watch Dune, go watch it in theaters. 2021.
It's still really cool. The sound design is amazing.
Yeah, I think if nothing else, it's nice to look at.
And keep going so that they definitely make the sequel, because we got to find out what they're going to do.
You got to have some closure at least. Yeah. Cool.
Nice.
You heard it here. 2021 beats 1984.
Yes.
A ding.
Yes, a dirty win.
Now do better with it, Villeneuve.
Yes. So I believe next we go on to Character Limit Extended, where we talk a little bit more about the movie we talked just a little bit about a week ago.
Ooh, that was nice.
Yeah, or in this case, about an hour ago.
Yeah.
We just recorded
the reviews.
You know what? Before we get into Character Limit Extended, I'd like to say thanks for liking, thanks for sharing, and thanks for subscribing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling it, but I'm glad you hit it.
Thank you for your 5-star reviews. There's quite a few on there. It's helping us out a lot on Apple Podcasts. If you haven't done it yet, please do us a favor. Go on to Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review if you are so inclined. I won't hunt you if you do. And it helps us out a lot with getting discovered on YouTube. Give us a share, give us a subscribe, make some dummy accounts, give us a like, but yeah, help us out. We're getting the word out there. We appreciate you listening. So let's get back into Character Limit Extended.
There we go.
David.
Hopefully I didn't scare everyone off with my Dune hate, but it's actually, you're kicking it to me, but we should be kicking it to you.
Oh shoot, kickback.
Oh yeah, you were the short guy this
That's
time.
right.
You pulled the short stick, if you will.
The person that has the Hemingway goes first.
And we're talking about Last Night in Soho.
Ooh.
Edgar Wright.
Yeah, the film written and directed by Edgar Wright, right? So this is his sixth film.
Six.
Aside from the Cornetto trilogy.
No, including the Cornetto trilogy.
Oh yeah, I know, including. Okay.
It's those three, Scott Pilgrim, Baby Driver, and this is number 6.
So this is his first outright horror film. Like straight up horror. He has marketed it as a thriller horror. It was kind of blasé. It was okay. And David had touched on a point where he said, particularly the character design of the baddies or the ghoulies, the Johns, as I like to name them, was really unimaginative, and I cannot agree more. It was so bad. I was like, dang, I've seen better effects on sci-fi. It's an interesting film, and it's pretty, and it's got the Edgar Wright timing a little bit, but it's lacking his signature. Like that's like what I missed was like, I don't even know if I'm watching an Edgar Wright film. Like, what's going on here? Not even like a small little joke, not even like a small hint to like the universe or anything like that he's made. But also, I got to give it credit. The ending twist was really cool. I dug it.
Yeah, I did like the twist too.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should talk about it.
I would have to say that I didn't see the twist coming.
Yeah.
Like there was definitely a point in the movie where I was like, all right, so I know what we're going to do. And that's not what happened.
Yeah.
So I did appreciate that at the very least.
I thought the soft twist, the first soft twist was stupid, but the second one, the real twist, is better.
Okay, let's just say spoilers and skip ahead like 5 minutes just to be safe.
That's nice, because there is a joke I want to make.
If you hear us talking about a horror movie list, you've gone far enough. So for me, it's like, so the twist is that really Anya Taylor-Joy is the killer. She's not the victim. Well, she's the victim, but she's also the killer.
Yeah.
And she's been killing all these guys who, basically, she's getting Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Like, to get fame, she's got to be with a bunch of gross men.
Yeah.
So she starts killing them.
Like, that's how it started. It was like, hey, don't you want to be famous? And then he turned her into a prostitute.
Which is what I think happens all the time, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So then, yeah, she is killing these guys. But then it turns into like, but why would you
continue doing it then?
Well, not even that. Well, like, first off, yeah, how did she keep getting away with it? Why was Doctor Who letting her keep doing it?
I know.
These guys keep disappearing and then nothing happens. But then also, like, the movie is her baby voice Mackenzie having
I couldn't stand it.
She's having a bunch of visions. And the perspective doesn't make sense anymore because it's really the haunting of these Johns.
Yes, and why does it take these John ghosts the entire length of the movie to eventually be at the end like, help, like,
so dumb.
Hey, we're not trying to scare you. We actually need your help. Free our souls. The old lady's a prostitute. She's a murderous prostitute.
Yeah.
It's her. And I thought it was funny that the twist was the same as the gag in Beer Fest, and that it was like, hey, the old lady was the whore.
Yeah. Well, you know what else it is too? It's like it's literally Haunting in Connecticut is how it ends.
Yeah, dude. You know, you're right.
It's 100% because I just watched that for the Halloween movie.
Great movie.
And I was like, oh, this is a good movie. And then I was like, oh, Michelle's one to point out. She's like, this is just Haunting of Connecticut. I was like, shoot, it really is actually.
Oh, it was really lackluster, like getting there. And I was just like, once it happened, I was like, okay. But, you know, there's the overall message. And I like the overall message. I like the overall message where he's saying, like,
don't go chasing waterfalls.
There's that.
Yeah.
And then there's also, you know, we have to be aware of the rosy red glasses we're putting on in nostalgia because the 60s was not a beautiful woke place that we think it was. And this is the stuff that really happened. And it's funny how we were talking about the Johns asking for help. And yeah, it's stupid that they waited till the end. But it was definitely to illustrate that point of like, you know, these abusers act like they're the victim at the end, at the last possible point when they shouldn't be. I got that part out of it, but I was also just like, God, this is so dumb, though.
Yeah, it's a nice analysis. I really like that. I mean, I think I might have enjoyed the movie a little bit more than you guys. I just...
it was fine.
It was the ghosts that really killed it for me, and I like the plot twist, but I don't like what it means for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's just... But up until that point, yes, a little bit slow, but I was really enjoying the, like, aesthetic design of the movie.
And I wanted to fit some of that into the chirp, but you only get 208 characters.
It goes
so much
by
you can do.
fast.
But aesthetically, great.
Yeah.
Actors did a solid job.
Yeah.
Like all the supporting actors are great. The bitch is like a great bitch.
Yeah, she's good.
Her
yeah,
original
yeah.
roommate. She's super good at being just a terrible catty person.
Yeah, that's true.
Music, dope. Score,
Oh,
dope.
I love the soundtrack. Yeah,
Yeah,
a bunch
the
of
soundtrack
awesome
was
60s
great.
tunes.
That downtown sequence was really good with Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy is just so good. She's like my favorite actress
She's
right now.
crushing it, man.
Even her chemistry with her pimp, I guess. I forget the character's name
Matt
right now.
Smith.
Matt Smith.
He like when they're dancing and stuff, chemistry's fantastic. But even like the hate she has for him towards the end of her story, like it's great.
I could have done without the subplot of like old Jack. You know what I mean? And that's the soft twist.
Well,
that's
the good old red herring.
The red
man.
herring soft twist, yeah. But I feel like it was kind of clumsy.
Yeah.
I don't know, because then at the end it's like, no, that was a cop. He was a cop. Don't you remember that one cop that we showed you in this 5-second sequence?
Yeah.
Who wasn't even told he was a cop?
Yeah, that is a little weird. I mean,
well, you're not told he's a cop, but they hinted it because she's like, you don't sound like one of the guys around here. You sound like a cop.
Yeah.
Like she calls him out on it.
I just thought it could have been done better.
There's a little bit of there's another little subplot, which is like Thomas and Mackenzie's current day romance with John.
Oh, yeah, didn't believe it.
You know what? I kind of liked that.
Really?
It worked for me. I thought they were very adorable together, and
They're
he
cute.
ends up
I
serving
thought
a
he
little
was
purpose.
very sweet.
Yeah, it was also like, dude, you need to ditch this girl. This girl's nuts.
Yeah.
This girl's crazy.
Hey, if you keep messing around with this girl, you might end up getting stabbed.
It's kind of interesting that they had like a pretext of like she can see dead people, or at least see her dead mom. So she's like sensitive to like spirits and stuff, or is it just trauma?
This ended up being like a Shining Dr. Sleep universe movie.
Yeah.
And we just didn't know it.
Slash Sixth Sense kind of
Sixth
deal.
Sense, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't stick the landing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. If they had just I don't know even how to describe it. It's just I'm used to Edgar Wright movies being so satisfying at the end.
I was gonna say, you mentioned in your book report about the level of excellence that you've come to expect, and that's exactly what it is.
And all his other movies are just quick, witty, good, satisfying, good pacing and all that stuff. And like you're saying, like I wanted that Edgar Wright stamp on it, and I wanted the fulfillment after. But man, those spooky sequences were dumb and bad. And I've seen the man nail a spooky sequence, like in Shaun of the Dead. I've seen him do it in Hot Fuzz. I've seen him do it in World's End. Like he can do it. Maybe just not a whole movie of it.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a bummer because if the ending was solid, then I wouldn't have minded it not feeling like his movie, but now it just kind of feels like he tried something new and it just wasn't very successful.
Yeah.
Which is also sad because when we shout out to our Edgar Wright ranking video, it's time and time again, his movies come up short. Like his movies are always, not enough people go see it and they're always great. And this time I have a prediction, but I bet this is going to be one of the highest box office was.
Dude, it's got like 75% or something.
I mean, and it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
I wouldn't give it that though.
It's just, you know,
I'm not going to watch it ever again. I'll say that. Like, I don't think I'll watch it again. Do you think you'll watch it again?
I might watch it again. I mean, I really like Thomas and McKenzie and I Taylor-Joy in the movie. And for the most part, that whole thing's working for me, but you know.
What do you think, Frank? You think you'll watch it again?
I mean, there are things that I liked. I don't know if they're enough to bring me back for like another sit around. Maybe if it's long enough and I really have like an itch for it. Maybe if I'm watching, I'm like, I'm going to watch all the Edgar Wright films.
Yeah.
Then like,
I could do that.
It's not going to be like watching that one when we were doing that ranking, and then I realized I had to watch that Amy Schumer movie.
What's his name? Apatow.
Yeah, Judd Apatow.
Yeah, that was bad. What is it called?
Train wreck.
This will be the train wreck of Edgar Wright in that I've forgotten about it in a couple months.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like,
and it's a better like bottom floor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rock bottom. That's the word I was looking for.
And also, the worst Edgar Wright is probably still better than the best Judd Apatow.
For sure. It's like it's a disappointing movie because of who he is, but it's not the most disappointing movie you could go see. You know,
I was less bored than watching Dune.
Fair enough. But you know what sucks is like we waited a year for this movie too, and there was so much excitement.
A really long time.
There was so much excitement for this movie.
So I just decided to look it up, but yeah, it's actually got a 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb right now, currently. It does feel a little bit high, and I was just wondering what they've done at the box office so far.
Oh, if we got those numbers yet. You know, 7.6 to me, that just feels pretty spot on for me.
Really? I'd give it like a 7 without the points.
Without the 0.6.
And if that's what it is right now, it's probably more or less where it's going to sit at, I bet.
Yeah.
So current worldwide gross 6,924,000.
That's not good.
That's not a lot.
Yeah, I mean budget 43 millions, so they got a ways to go.
You know, I feel like Edgar Wright's not that big a name aside from anyone who's a movie fanatic. You know what I mean?
From the maker of Baby Driver.
Did you like Baby Driver?
Oh, I love Baby Driver.
I love Baby Driver.
Those other five movies.
Baby Driver's great. That's why they were leaning on it for for recognition. Like,
also, I don't think they wanted to go from the guy who brought you Shaun of the Dead and then it'd be a totally dry movie.
Not funny. Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's reason one, like, hey, that's not what he's doing, and reason two, like, not everybody might know about Shaun of the Dead.
My high school students don't know what Shaun of the Dead is.
That's a damn shame.
Which is crazy.
They would love it.
Yeah.
It's from when they were like 5, right?
They weren't born yet.
Oh my.
That's how old we are, man.
Whoa. This is blowing my mind.
You just heard that like existential crisis.
I like blew my head and it was like do.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That might be old too now.
Yeah, that meme's too old. They don't know what that is.
Oh wow. Well, I'll just take it as I'm an old man now.
Yes, you are.
Well, any final words for Last Night in Soho from you two? I'm going to go with knuckleheads.
I'll take 2 last words. Razzle dazzle.
Solid last words, David.
I'm not going to just do 2 words. I'd say if you're a casual moviegoer, you might like it. If you have no expectation, if you have no expectation of Edgar Wright before seeing this, you might like it.
I'll translate that real quick. Danny just said in Danny speak, if you're a filthy casual.
yeah, get good. I didn't like it.
I'd say that's fair. Yeah, I'd say that's fair. And I'm going to go with, it's time for...
Oh!
That is interesting.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I was ready just to take over. I was like, I'm in.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah, very exciting. I actually have a surprise that's interesting for you guys.
I thought I was going to do that's interesting.
Oh, was there a discussion
now
before?
this is interesting.
Oh, interesting.
That's so funny. While we were setting up, I was like, nobody said anything about that's interesting. I'm going to look something
Why
up
don't you
really
guys
quick.
rock, scissors, paper right now?
Well, how long is yours? Let's just do both.
Not very long. Mine's really going
Why
to be
not?
a quick like, hey, this is going to be a thing. And then I assume David would go like, oh, God. Oh, no. Why?
Ooh.
Danny might go, oh, God. Oh, no. Why? Or, all right, I'm down. Let's get
Okay,
weird. And I am personally really excited whether this is going to be a good or a bad movie.
Ugh.
But the third Boondock Saints film is a go.
I heard about this.
I gotta
Yeah,
be
and
honest, I don't care.
It will be Troy Duffy, it will be Norman Reedus, and it will be Sean Patrick Flannery.
Okay. Has potential.
I mean, I love Boondock Saints. I've never gotten further than 20 minutes into Boondock Saints 2, which I've heard is actually not that bad.
It's so dumb. I love it.
Maybe I need to try it again. I got 20
Dude, now
minutes into
that is a Hemingway.
Yes.
I got 20 minutes into that movie and I was like, I am not watching this. And then I
It
stopped.
was a firefight.
Now, yeah, that's so epic in the first one, but
Yeah.
in 2, you get things like, it's time for a kick-ass burrito.
Oh man.
Oof, I don't know.
Yeah. Right. So I'm excited. Personally, I'm excited to see which way they're going to go with it, and I'm down either way.
I don't care. I'm sorry.
Wow. I was about to say, I'll watch it. Oh, maybe.
Like, show me a trailer.
Is it a theatrical release?
No, God, no, it's not theatrical.
Okay, so it's
release.
going. Okay, now I'm a little worried.
Maybe it is, but I don't know. I'm assuming not.
That's Zay.
Two is DVD.
They don't even mention it.
Uh-oh.
Filming's supposed to begin in May.
Well, we'll see.
Well, I mean, Norman Reedus is as big a name as he's ever been.
That's true.
He's more famous now than he was during either Boondock Saints. And everyone remembers Sean Patrick Flannery as that guy from Saw 6.
I've got to look up Sean Patrick Flannery. I don't know if I.
He's in
it's the
guy who makes up.
impersonator. Right?
Yeah, he's the impersonator.
Well, he's not imposter. That's the word I'm looking
Yeah.
for.
I don't know if it's. Is it 6?
Yeah, it's this dumb guy. Yeah, he pretends he's the victim of Jigsaw. That's hilarious.
And then he is the victim.
Haha, that'll show you, idiot. Watch all your friends die.
Wow, that's awful.
You know what? If anything, we'll review Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
There you
down.
go.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's it. Maybe, I don't know. Is that movie getting forgotten about? I'm not sure.
Dude, that I doubt many people. If you go up on the street
You know
and ask
what?
10
I
people.
still see people with the Boondocks tattoo sometimes. Veritas Equatus.
Is that the little crucifix thing?
Well, it's like Veritas and Equatus. I think there's like a crucifix, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Every time I see it, I'm like, wow, bro.
Yeah, you're that guy.
Really,
huh?
dude? Yeah.
That's a guy that like has a Tyler Durden shirt for sure.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Where's the Donnie Darko bunny? You get that on there too?
Fantastic.
That is interesting, Frank.
Thank you, David. Or thank you, Danny. David,
I don't think
will
that's
thank you for the next story that you're about to give us.
Of course.
Preemptive thank you, David.
And you know, it's not even a story. So got on the old Instagram at Uninformed Movie Reviews. October's over. It's November now. I'm done with 31 days of horror reviews. And may I say, man, it's a lot. It's a lot to watch a movie
You
every
watched
night.
a lot, man.
I watched 31 horror movies in 31 nights. I think there's a couple days where I was like, I got to do something tomorrow. I'm going to watch 2 today.
Dang. Now it's Tom Hanks giving, and you got to watch all Tom Hanks movies
Every
for
time
30 years.
No, I'm good. I was almost like 25 days of Christmas movie reviews. No, I'll run out too fast.
No.
Maybe a 12 days of Christmas.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Well, even
Seems a little bit more reasonable.
I'd
That's
probably-
a lot of
that's still a
Christmas,
lot of
man.
I'd probably legitimately blow my brains out for 25 movies.
I
What if
probably
you did
watch-
12 days of horror?
Well, you know what? Next year it's going to be like 13 nights of horror or something.
Oh.
Because I don't know if I can do 31 again. Also, you know, you run through a lot of movies.
Yeah,
Because now we did
31
last
of
year
them.
too. So now 62 movies that
Jesus.
Ooh, wow.
I've watched. And
Get to
man.
the bottom of the barrel pretty quick if you keep going at that rate.
I was like, okay, should I read off every movie? And then I was like, nah, I think you just go to the Instagram and check out all the pictures. There's reviews posted up there. But I did put together a list. I made some categories and I wanted to share it with you guys.
Oh, that is interesting, David.
Let's start from the bottom. Scariest watch.
Oh, okay.
So the movie that I
Yeah.
thought was the most like had my adrenaline going, had me on the edge of my seat. And strangely enough, it's the movie where nothing happens. It Comes at Night.
Dude.
It Comes at Night is so unrelenting in the weirdest way.
I feel like it's like subtext. It should be like, it comes at night 222 and have nothing in parentheses where it goes, nothing comes at night.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess light spoiler, but you'll appreciate it if you go in the movie, because It Comes at Night, I was expecting to be like a zombie movie, infected movie, but it's really like, oh no, it's paranoia that's coming at night. That's what comes at night, paranoia and fear.
The scariest villain of them all.
An A24 joint.
Yes. I was describing it as like that opening scene of 28 Weeks Later where those people are in that house and they're just like,
love that.
At any moment, anything could go wrong. That's what the whole movie feels like. We finished it and Michelle and I were like, oh, like, that was a grueling experience in a good way. And I was like, man, that movie's like 2.5 hours or something.
It's long.
And it was, dude, it's 91 minutes.
Weird. That feels way longer than that.
It feels so long because the entire time you're like, what is going to happen? And then, I mean, it sticks the landing in my opinion. Man.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
That is a very tense. I could see some people being like, this movie's dumb, nothing happens. But it's
definitely the Resident Evil crowd. I feel like you're handing out 31 Days awards.
Yeah.
These should be called the Spookies.
The Spoopies.
There you go, the Spoopies.
The next spooky I got is Best Kills. So the movie with just the best kills. It's Maniac with Elijah Wood.
Interesting.
That's good. Does it get that nice first person kill?
Is it like best in creative ways, or
I'm gonna go just like with brutality and also, I mean, I'll give it the creative thing too. The thing about Maniac is it's so upfront and plain with its murdering that Maniac is a brutal watch. I've seen it before and it's been a few years, so I watched it again and I've forgotten just how intense it is. But man, enjoyed the kills. Next up I got Unpleasant Surprise. So this is a movie that I thought was going to be good. I've heard many good things about it. And then I was like, 13 Ghosts. Man.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a Danny and Frank caveat.
This is a big old dumb movie. That's ugly and looks terrible.
You know how I was talking about rosy red glasses with nostalgia? That's definitely this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you this. The ghosts do look cool.
Yeah.
The 13 ghosts are interesting.
Cool. Yeah. The house is kind of cool.
The house is pretty dumb, dude. The house looks real dumb.
It's a freaking square. It's a Rubik's Cube.
It's not even that. It's like this weird, disgusting 90s interpretation of modern art.
That you can look through.
Yeah, that's all glass. It's like, how do you even... I don't even know. Did not like this movie.
But ghost boobs, David. Ghost
I mean, when you're not 11, it doesn't hit quite the same.
The boobs are like not sexy. I'll give you that, David. But ghost boobs, man. As a matter of fact, one of my Hemingways for the CLE we didn't get to do because of scheduling reasons was a Zoink Scoop. Check out those boobs.
Dang, that's good.
That is good.
It is really good. It's a shame we didn't get to do it.
Well,
you got it on record.
The podcast listener, they got there's our half a CLE. I don't know what mine is.
Yeah, if you've never seen that movie, you may not like it if you watch it for the first time because it is super dated.
So dated.
So dated.
Still
but
love it.
if you loved it and you're wondering, oh, should I watch it again? I still had a blast.
It was a fun time.
I was like, yes.
That's a no from me, dog.
Run, Tony Shalhoub, run.
Okay, the next is Pleasant Surprise. This is a movie that, I came in with just like regular expectations and then was like, wow, that's a pretty good movie.
Wow.
This movies that turned you into Owen Wilson.
Yeah, this one is coincidentally, no, I'm just joking. Shanghai Noon. No,
Wow.
High Tension, which is a French home invasion movie that takes this twist. It starts off as a brutal home invasion. This almost ended up being Best Kills because it's so disgusting.
Was it like Funny Games?
Yes.
Kind of?
Yes.
Like the original? Have you seen the original Funny Games? Oh, nice.
And then, but yeah, it quickly moves away from the house. The plot goes other place. I'm not going to say anything because it's, it's worth watching and does not go where you're expecting it to go. Killer.
That's dope.
Killer movie. It's a great one. Worst movie. Little Monsters. It was like the first movie, I think, too, or second.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God. With Fred Savage and Howie Mandel.
Yikes.
How did he have a job for so long is my question. He's
Boom,
awful.
got him.
He's awful. This movie was unbearable. If I was a parent in the 80s and my kid wanted to see that movie, I might get rid of him. I might abandon them
Get
in
rid
the
of the
theater.
kid?
Yeah. Because obviously their taste is never going anywhere. Disgusting movie. It's awful. Don't watch it. And on top of everything else, it's got this really creepy, like, pedophile vibe to it.
Oh, weird.
Where it's like, where Howie Mandel's like, come under the bed with the rest of the monsters. Parents aren't allowed here. There's no rules here. Come hang out with me and my friends. It's like, dude, what is going on?
It wouldn't be terrible if the monsters were all like children, but they're all like grotesque adult monsters. It's like a whole monster world.
Would you say it's worse? It's bad enough to not be on Best of the Worst?
Well, the problem is it's too polished. It's like a studio movie, but it's just like Howie Mandel is unbearable in this
Wow.
movie. He is so bad that I never want to watch him in anything ever again.
Wow.
I hate it. I'm going to destroy it. That's all I have to say about that one.
Oh, he's the blue guy.
Yes.
Yikes.
Awful. Decent character design. Awful movie. And then lastly, we have best movie, and I decided I was going to make two things. First, I wasn't going to add a movie I'd already seen because I'd reviewed like Night of the Living Dead, and it's like, obviously that's the best movie here. So I picked 3 movies I hadn't watched. Here's my top 3 best new horror movies of the season.
Ooh.
In third place, a movie that I can't believe I hadn't seen earlier, The Descent.
Dude,
Ooh,
yes.
yeah,
yes,
man.
Yes.
The Descent is great.
It is heavy metal.
Yes. Yes, you can hear the Doom soundtrack in the background.
Dude, when they're like escaping and I think they like cross a chasm and like the chick has to like sacrifice herself.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, that's so metal.
Well, the coolest part about the movie too is, I mean, now it's a little spoiled. Like everyone kind of knows what the movie's about, at least a little the premise. But in the movie, the first like hour 10 maybe, there's no monsters.
It's just dramatic.
It's just like we're trapped in a cave.
Oh my God. Are we ever going to get out of here?
And that's scary enough on its own.
Yeah.
And then the monster shows up, and you're like, what is going on
Dude,
right now?
every now and then you find a horror movie that like weds two things, like basic horror movie plot, but also like a phobia that most people have.
Yes.
And it just does it so right. And
Yeah, if you're claustrophobic, this movie
man.
will be like
I'm not
unwatchable.
claustrophobic, but it still gave me sweaty palms.
Dude, they're like squeezing through these little. I'm like, man, this
just
is
be a fantastic movie pairing with As Above, So Below.
Oh,
just
yeah,
feel
dude.
underground for
That's
a couple
a great
hours.
movie. Have you?
confined or buried with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, dude, have you seen the second one? Have you seen The Descent too?
No, I haven't. Is it worth watching?
I feel like I
No.
didn't know about The Descent too. I feel like I'm finding out about this right now.
It's okay. So it obviously takes like the movie tip off, the good movie tip off where they like rape what was left of the first one, but like, it's okay. But it just loses all of the finesse of the first one.
I think that's your second usage of the word raped in this podcast, which is,
Today?
I think, an all-time high.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, you
Interesting.
did mention it earlier.
Sorry about that.
You know what rape isn't, Danny?
Content warning. I'm sorry.
Number 2, Dial M for Murder. Alfred Hitchcock.
Wow,
This is
that's an old one.
This is an adaptation of a stage play, and when you watch the movie, you're like, this is definitely a stage play. It's like 2 sets and just like 5 people, and it is so good.
Really?
It's this cat and mouse game. I'll give you the basic premise. A man is not in love with his wife anymore and is so displeased with her because she's philandering that he's going to kill her. But he's not just going to kill her. He's going to make the most elaborate, perfect murder so that, this plan is foolproof and in no way is it ever going to blow up in his face.
Stabs her with an icicle.
Well, no, he incorporates another person. Like he finds someone through a means that it's like no one will ever suspect how I know this person. I mean, it's so methodical, so well thought out. And then of course, like one little pin is dropped in the engine and the whole plan is turned upside down. And from then on out, it's just like this like cat and mouse game. It's him versus his wife, whose new man is like a horror author who writes murder and mysteries that are supposed to be unsolvable. You know what I mean? That's like his shtick. And then there's the police, like the investigator. So all these guys are just like, it's just great.
Really?
It's excellent. I love Hitchcock. I hadn't seen this one yet. It was awesome. Go watch it. And then lastly, the biggest surprise, and maybe just like something that's going to become a movie I need to watch every year. Dr. Sleep, y'all. Dr. Sleep, number one movie.
Fantastic.
Of Halloween month. Dang, that movie's so good. So good. For a long time, I was like, there doesn't need to be a sequel to The Shining. And in a lot of ways, this isn't a sequel to The Shining. It's just more like literally opening up the universe. It's like, well, what if we set this story?
And it's got like a love letter feel to The Shining,
too.
Yeah.
And then they pay the nods, especially towards the end. They bring back.
That ending is so good, man.
I still need to check it out. I haven't watched it yet.
Incredible. I just love it. I just love every moment of it. I mean, Ewan McGregor, the poor guy doesn't get a lot of leading roles. I don't know why, but he nails it in this movie, and then sadly, it didn't make a lot of money. So
yeah, that's so weird.
He probably won't be in very many more leading roles.
But it's well received. Like, it's definitely a good movie.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's Mike Flanagan, Hill House, Bly Manor.
Dude, I cannot wait
Hush.
for our Mike Flanagan ranking at some point, man.
Although it'll be complicated because we can't do the shows.
Oh, we should.
I don't know about that, Danny. This watch just became 48 hours long.
Yeah, that sounds like quite a chore.
We've seen
Although
them all.
I'd rather do it like rewatch them again than watch 1984 Dune.
Fair enough.
Dang. Hey, well,
It's actually less time, I think.
Yeah, if I had to decide, like, do I want to watch Hill House or 1984 Dune? Hill House.
I'll watch it
Hands
twice.
down.
100%.
Amazing. Well,
Bly Manor would be the most chore.
if you guys want to, yeah, a little bit. If you guys want to check out the rest of the reviews, it's on Instagram. Maybe I'll do 12 days of Christmas reviews. I'm going to end up watching 12 Christmas movies with Michelle anyway, so might as well I'll wrap them in little presents. But shoot, y'all, that's all I got. That is all I got.
That was a delightful wrap up of Spooky Month, David.
An impromptu awards. That was really great.
And just because October is over, it doesn't mean Halloween has to stop being celebrated in your heart.
Amen.
All right, we definitely wasn't expecting that, but that is going to take us to everybody's favorite segment. To be more specific, everybody's favorite hypothetical debate segment on this podcast. Ooh. It's time for Peeps and Predicts, y'all.
That's right. Peeps and Predicts, the game where we put two peeps, i.e. people, in a fictional predicament.
All right.
And see who prevails. Who is our reigning champ?
Our reigning champ is Aaron from You're Next.
Oh, dang.
Ooh. Let's go.
Well, everyone, our peeps for today are... Oh, wrong segment.
I thought you were singing The Trooper for a second.
Howard the Duck versus Darkwing Duck.
Interesting.
Ew.
I definitely wasn't expecting a duck off.
I'm just going to go right away and just say I've never seen Howard the Duck. The most I know about him is that he shows up in Guardians of the Galaxy and Endgame.
Well, you should know he bangs human ladies, David.
Yeah, I do know about that.
He's Phase 5 Marvel, dude.
Yeah.
The predicament is, who is more likely to be a Dallas Cowboys fan?
I would say Darkwing Duck exists in this like human
on Earth,
universe. Howard the Duck exists like on Earth.
Oh, in a reality.
Versus Darkwing Duck lives in the cartoon universe.
Do you think there's a cartoon Dallas Cowboys?
Not with that licensing. You know what I mean?
Not with Jerry Jones. He ain't gonna let that happen.
Jerry Jones.
I can't imagine so. Also, you're telling me Howard the Duck would get a glimpse of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and wouldn't be all about it?
Dang, good point. Also, Darkwing Duck, I feel like he's got better things to do than watch football.
Yeah, isn't he like a superhero of sorts, a crime fighter?
He's Batman the Duck.
Man, see, this is a huge gap in my knowledge. Who is Darkwing Duck? Is he Donald Duck?
No,
he's not, right?
Daffy. It's Daffy Duck, but as like... but it's like he's not
Disney.
He's not.
He's Disney.
Is he Disney?
Disney,
He's Disney.
yeah, because he's in the same universe from DuckTales, which is Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
And Scrooge
McDuck. DuckTales, I could get into a little bit.
Well, Darkwing Duck's from DuckTales.
I don't remember.
But like, if I remember correctly, it's not Scrooge, but it might be someone on DuckTales.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Yes, I am seeing this Darkwing Duck now.
Is Darkwing Duck? Is he like a superhero in the DuckTales universe? That'd be crazy.
Yes, I think so.
Oh, really? He's like not even a real.
Oh, you know what? I don't know if he's like fantastical.
Oh,
or
I see what you're
something.
saying. You're saying like he's actually a superhero.
Yeah. in there.
Darkwing was brought to Comic Guy's planet to replace Ordinary Guy, who had gone missing due to his treatments by the heroes. He soon returned as the villainous, not-so-ordinary guy before he stole their powers to become Extraordinary Guy. So I guess he's a little bit of a villain, actually.
Interesting.
What?
Or an anti-hero.
Okay,
Maybe.
I'm gonna just be honest. I'm gonna say Howard the Duck because I'm so uninterested in the background of Darkwing Duck. I'd rather just put this to bed.
Any of our young listeners are just like, what the hell are these
What are
guys
these-
talking
what are these
about?
boomers talking about right now?
I'm sorry, everyone. We're just, back in the 90s.
And then all the boomers we just offended by talking trash about.
They're like,
Darkwing
who
Duck.
are they talking about?
And by boomers, I mean Gen Xers.
So, needless to say, Howard the Duck beats out on that one.
Sure.
Howard the Duck progresses, and he goes up against Aaron from Your Next.
Yeah, so
Oh,
you have ruined your one episode streak of getting this correctly.
I was so proud of
Shoot.
you last time.
Oh, darn. Okay.
yes.
All right. So their next predicament would be who would be more likely to send Ada, the lamb, to Valhalla
Oh my god.
with a boomstick.
Oh my god, what a crazy twist.
This is mine.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness. I was not prepared for that
Well, you know,
in the least bit.
this is a fun one, but I'll just say right off the bat, no one's shooting anybody in a Disney cartoon.
It's definitely Howard the Duck.
Fair.
Yeah. And if anything, Howard the Duck is going to be a little bit threatened. He's like, hey, I'm the humanoid animal, okay?
Yeah.
I can't have you getting in here making out with Ali Sheedy.
I was gonna say he's
or whoever the girl
probably
is.
getting in like a love triangle with Uncle Peter too.
Oh, good. He's actually Uncle Peter's bass player. He was in Lamb. He might have missed him. He was in there for a little bit.
Wow, so that's weird. And Howard the Duck wins again.
Yeah. I mean, well, are you okay with that, Frank?
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
It makes sense to me. The Disney argument makes sense. Howard the Duck's a little twisted. It just makes sense.
Poor Ada.
Yeah, I'm still just like shocked from the predicament.
Ada.
Ada, sorry.
We didn't say that in the review, but Ada reminds me so much of like Shadow of the Colossus or Ico.
Oh yeah, Ico. Yeah.
Otto, like the way they
Oh,
talk, they
yeah.
have that interesting little accent. I mean, I guess it's just Icelandic accent.
The Last Guardian 2.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, the final predicament, which puts Howard the Duck versus Aaron from Your Next.
I'm going to be shocked if Aaron is dethroned right now.
Are you worried? Are you a little worried there?
I don't even know what's gonna happen. All right, let's.
Who would make a more interesting Real Housewife of blank?
Oh shoot, man! I mean, Aaron, 100%.
I mean, yeah,
She would not mesh well with the other participants. There
but would
be
Howard the Duck
drama.
be more interesting?
Well,
No, he'd be trying to bang all those ladies.
Well, he'd be that's true.
that could be kind of interesting. But I mean, not to be sexist, but can a man be a Real Housewife?
Yeah, probably.
Sure.
I don't think so. They're just husbands. They're husbands of
House
the wife.
husbands?
husband? Okay.
Yeah, there's never been a guy who's a Real Housewife, and I know this from my extensive housewife knowledge.
That makes sense. Right now, you're the resident nerd
Yeah, I
in
would
this
say
segment.
you've got the
Yeah.
lore of the housewives.
If Michelle was here, she'd obviously be queen. But yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I think it would be Erin, and it would actually be a lot of fun because she would just be,
killing.
she'd be like, "Why are we even talking about this?" She'd be very rude to everyone.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know what to do with it.
That'd be great.
They'd ultimately kick her off the show. Probably.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't be too appealing.
No.
Ergo, wouldn't be that interesting. Dang.
But it would be interesting. Like, as if we, as the viewer, had to watch an episode of Real Housewives and you had Aaron in there mixing it up and pissing everybody off, you'd be like, damn, this is a really good episode.
Yeah, you think
right
they'd
now.
keep her around
a
just
good
for the
point.
pissing off, or would she piss people off too much to where they wouldn't even associate with her? And then why is she
Well,
on the show?
I'll say this: it seems like usually the people who leave because they're like bullied off.
Fair
Like-
enough.
Like what's her face? Denise Richards was on the show. You guys would recognize Denise Richards if you
I know
saw
who
her.
she is. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, from Starship Troopers.
Yeah, there we go. And she she was basically like bullied out of that show. But I
Darn.
feel like if you tried doing that to Erin, she might just like kill you.
She might.
Might could. That
Or
would be
just like
interesting.
punch you in the face, maybe.
That'd
Yeah.
be interesting to have like a unsurmountable like villain.
She also more or less looks the part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's pleasing.
She's a little too young
visually
for the show.
pleasing.
They need to be like 50.
Yeah,
with a lot of
aren't they like
plastic
40
surgery.
and 50? Yeah.
Well, they're old now.
Have they done like a Real Housewives of like Salt Lake City yet? Because Mormons get married pretty young.
Yes, and the Salt Lake City one is a little boring this season, but the premise is kind of wild. There's one like kind of like evangelist holy roller church where the leader of the church, this old lady, she dies, and her granddaughter marries her husband.
Ooh.
Not her biological grandfather, but like
Her step
her
grandfather.
step-grandfather, and she takes over as the new leader of this church.
Whoa.
It's so creepy. It's so weird, but it's kind of amazing to watch. I gotta be honest.
So interesting.
It's so gross, man.
Wow.
So that's what's going on in Salt Lake City.
Wow, I'm sorry I asked.
You should be. You should be.
Needless to say, Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron's going to come out on top
I think
yet
so.
again.
Hey, pow.
There we go.
Aaron takes it to the next episode. That's a 2 streak for this woman.
The next episode.
Hot to go, hot to do.
How very exciting. How very, very exciting. I honestly think she might be around for a little while. But I feel like every time I say that, it's like us telling people to watch something that's streaming on Netflix.
Ooh.
And then it's just gone.
It might date.
100%.
Yep.
Well, you know. Oh, sorry.
What I was just going to say, gentle reminder, like, share, subscribe. Give us that 5-star review. I'll tell you now so Danny doesn't end up threatening you. He was very nice earlier, so it's only a matter of time.
Just suggestive.
Yeah.
He who controls the spice controls the universe.
There we go. Join us next time for Cowboy Bebop
Wow, it's time already for that?
in person. That's
Very
the next
exciting.
podcast.
All right, cool.
Oh, I'm so worried.
See you there.